quick shout out to Brian from Here's the Deal, High Impact Flicks. I don't know whether to thank him or I've never received more upset comments at me, besides when people wrongly called me a racist. So this is your chance to educate me so that, and by the way, I'm going to mention a few people here. But all the people I'm going to mention are allies. We're all on the same team of justice, truth, and liberty. We're all on the same team. So I'm going to mention a couple people here, and then I'm going to ask you guys to go ahead and replace law and order. Go ahead and replace it. I've received maybe a dozen or 24 comments from people who have angrily typed in my comment section, oh, I didn't sign up for the social contract. I didn't sign up for this system. I didn't agree to this at birth. No, your parents did, and your parents did, and their parents did. And it's been since 1791 that this has been going on. 1789, 1791. Constitution signed in 1776, but we don't have nothing's ratified till 1791, the completions. So, and then some things weren't even ratified until later. So this is your chance to educate me because, so Brian has talked about the social contract, and he mentioned hobby and theory. Hobby and theory is not the social contract that we live under. We live under Jean-Jacques Rousseau's social contract under a democracy. So you can't replace it. Brian is a friend. We're totally on the same team. And then James Freeman stopped by and he dropped a little comment and said something in the comment section about the social contract. And so, Mr. Freeman, my favorite auditor, James Freeman's my favorite auditor. Mr. Freeman, I'm open to you giving me a suggestion as to what would replace the social contract. Go ahead. Anybody else? You guys hit the number 1 button. Chime in. Let me know where you're from. City, state, country, however much information you want to share with where you are. Go ahead and hit me in the comments and let me know real quick. Hit the number 1 button and let me know where everybody's at. So you can't replace the social contract. It can't be replaced. There's no debate between auditors. There's no debate between myself and any other YouTuber. It's not a debate. It's just a conversation. It's a long conversation that we're having. That us as a group, everybody who loves America, loves freedom, loves the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, people that understand the representations, that it only upholds God's will, that you are a free human being through the Enlightenment thinkers, John Locke, Montesquieu, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, through Kant, through these different deeper thinkers. We are having a bigger conversation now, which this is exactly what Jean-Jacques Rousseau recommended that we all do. That we all sit around and have long-winded conversations about democracy, about what democracy should be, and exactly what's the best implementation of the democracy for our specifically homogeneous area. So if anybody here can replace the social contract, go ahead and do it. Tell me the system that works. Volunteerism, anarchy, communitarianism, utilitarianism, hedonism. Go ahead and list another social order that works with the society as interconnected as the one that we have now. And further, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who stated that because society now relied on each other so much, that one hand holds another hand, that holds another hand, because we rely on each other so much, the only system that would work in societies as large as ours are now, and remember, he's talking about 1756, I messed up the year the other day, and I saw that I messed up the year. So anyway, Jean-Jacques Rousseau's social contract, you're talking about the mid-1700s. He's born in 1712 and dies in 1778, so you figure 30, 40 years. 1745, 1755, somewhere in there. He's going to pen the social contract that we live under today. And so for the people leaving me mean comments and saying, like, I didn't agree to adhere to any of these laws, okay, well then fine. I'm with you, brother. Give me a replacement to the social contract. Replace it for me so that I can be educated by you. Replace it for me. Go ahead and replace the social contract with something. Just replace it and then let me know what that is. And then we can talk about how your replacement won't work. We can talk about it in great detail. I'm not being arrogant. Remember, it wasn't my idea. None of these things are my ideas. Almost everything that I ever say to you guys is me repeating somebody else's brilliant idea through this Neanderthal human being I am. So if you cannot replace law and order and Jean-Jacques Rousseau's social contract, then you agree with it. And just so you know, when we really get into the talk about the social contract equals the rule of law. When you say the rule of law, you're saying the social contract. They are not, what do they call that? They are not mutually exclusive. The social contract is law and order. That's what the social contract is, which you guys supported, as I did, Kyle Rittenhouse being 100% innocent of doing anything untold when he had to kill a couple people. The reason why Kyle Rittenhouse was innocent was
in 2 miles, take exit 357 for Leavesley Road, California 152 West toward Gilroy.
152 West. I got to get on that. So the reason why Kyle Rittenhouse was able to kill 2 people in America and not face, well, he did, let's not talk about, he had to take the ride, boys and girls, get treated like a murderer, get locked up in a dungeon, fingers in every crevice of his body, strip searched, treated badly. He was treated very badly. Kyle Rittenhouse paid a heavy price for what he did, just so you know. He spent weeks and weeks in the dungeon, and as you know, every day in the dungeon is like a month or a year. It's atrocious. So, I don't want to lose track. If you were following the Rittenhouse trial and you were like, Kyle's not guilty, so you may not truly, I hope that you do understand, the reason why Kyle Rittenhouse was not guilty was because the police cordoned off an area and said this area over here is with rule of law, and this area over here where the protesters were, they weren't protesters, they were vandalizers and looters, where the vandalizers and looters were, that was an area that was without rule of law. The police were not going to enforce the social contract, which is rule of law, in the area where the looters and rioters were because there was too many, and that jeopardized officer safety. So those people's property.
In half a mile, take exit 357 for Leavesley Road, California 152 West toward Gilroy.
So those people's property could be destroyed. So now we understand that the social contract is rule of law. You don't say rule of law and not
understand. Take exit 357.
You don't say the rule of law and not understand that it has 100% to do with the social contract. That's not, they are the same thing.
In a quarter mile, use the left 2 lanes to turn left onto Leavesley Road.
You agree to live by a set of laws. Those set of laws equal rule of law. I agree to live by a set of laws. Those sets of laws for me are the rule of law of America, of the city I'm in.
Use the left 2 lanes to turn left onto Leavesley Road.
I have to take a left on this road, and I'm not supposed to go if the light is red when there's traffic around. When there's no traffic around, that's another conversation. So the people who've left me funny comments in my comment section, more than welcome to hear about your replacement for the rule of law. I'm more than willing to listen to you about your replacement for the rule of law, but then we're going to have to play that out. It's not just as simple as you going, oh, here's the replacement. You have to play it out. So what do I mean when I say play it out? I mean play it out. And this goes back to Jean-Jacques Rousseau's philosophy that when multiple hands have to touch each other for a society
Continue for 4 miles.
When multiple hands have to touch each other for a society to work, then you're going to have a social contract where we all agree to live by a certain set of rules of laws. So when I say play it out, what I'm talking about is play out a situation where the rule of law is broken and it affects you, because you won't be able to create a concept in your mind about hedonism or utilitarianism or volunteerism or anarchy because you've never lived in that system. It'll be almost impossible for you to play it out unless we play out the rule of law first. So play it out. And this is an example that I use all the time with people because I have a lot of conversations with people about the rule of law and about the social contract, considering how much I can't stand authority, or this form of authority. People say, how are you a law and order kind of guy? Well, let's play it out. So in your neighborhood where you live, the speed limit is 20 miles an hour, and there's those yellow cutouts of children, and it says children playing, and one of those children is yours. And so you say, okay, my child is playing outside. There's a big yellow cutout. A guy goes through there at 80. Your daughter, your son is outside. Rule of law, or the rules in your volunteerist or your anarchist or your utilitarian society, the rules are that you have to drive 20 through there, so someone has broken the rules. And now let's elevate that rule breaking to an injury. Not only did the person drive through your neighborhood at 80, they then injured your son or your daughter, where there's yellow men that are cut out of plastic that say, go slow, there's kids here. And then that person drove through there, it's the fifth time. So now, because there's no rule of law, what are we talking about? We're talking about natural law. You just ran over my kid and there's only natural law. You know what's going to happen to you, right? You know what's going to happen to you, especially, I'm actually a pacifist. I'm just an intimidating person when I give my finger and give you the evil eye. But the truth is, I don't believe in violence, just so you know. I think violence is a good thing in a sanctioned place, in a ring where everybody agrees that violence is going to be done, and there's rules to the violence, and there's an end to the violence, and it's done in a civilized, structured way. But as far as like me being a violent person on the street and attacking someone, not a chance in hell. Many people have attacked me in my life. I typically stop them with a wrestling move, and we don't fight anymore. So, with these things being said, now someone has injured your son or your daughter in your utopian society that you created. And now what happens? What happens? What if your son or daughter is dead? So now make it even more simplistic. The guy next door has beat up his wife. She comes outside, her nose is broken, her eyes are black. You can see he beat her up, she's crying, she says, my husband beat me up. Okay, that happened. It happens. I think it's the #1 crime between people in America is domestic violence. So with that being said, now make it right in your utopian society before you leave me a mean comment and say that I'm dumb or you didn't sign up for a social contract. Okay, cool. What do? Someone has to deal with that guy beating his wife. What if he's in a rage? Someone has to deal. So the person who has to deal with that man who's angry, and what if he's like been a fighter in his life and he's tough and he found out his wife cheated, and so I'm trying to make it, a real situation where the guy's going crazy. A guy who wouldn't hit his wife and he's going nuts. He's broken her rights. He's violated her rights. So now what has to happen to him? Play it out. Make your utopian society work, because it doesn't work. Your utopian society where there's nobody in authority and nobody's in charge of anybody else or has jurisdiction over human rights doesn't work. I'm sorry. Apply it. Teach it to me, because it doesn't work. There has to be someone in authority who comes over and takes that person away. Someone has to have authority. If there's a dead body on the ground, for example, someone has to have the authority to take that body away. And where are they taking the body? Who gave them the authority? Rule of law equals authority equals hierarchy. Jordan Peterson talks about this in great detail. The hierarchy is the law. When the hierarchy becomes too rigid, it becomes an authoritarian police state, which we're living in now. But you still can't replace the rule of law. It can't be done. There's no society or culture that you're going to suggest to me that I won't be able to then say to you, make it work now. Make it work. Someone's beat your child. Someone's molested your child. Someone has hurt your wife. Someone has hurt your daughter. Someone has hurt your kid. Someone has hurt your husband. Now what has to happen to that person? There's one word you want to search for. If somebody hurts my mother, what's the one word that I'm looking for? It is justice. If you hurt my mother, I want justice for my mother. That's it. Nothing else is going to do for me if you hurt my mama other than one word, justice. That's it. So Now play it out. In your neighborhood, the guy goes through your neighborhood at 80. There's little signs up say don't go fast. He broke the rules. You're pissed. You go outside. You say to him, hey, slow your damn car down. Right? Don't you? Or he hits your kid. Then what happens? There's no rule of law. There's no rules. You told him to slow down the first time. What do you do now? I told you to slow down, and now you've hit my daughter. Look, I'm a sane-based, rational person. Let me see my daughter on the ground with her leg ran over, and it's you that was doing 80 through here the other day, and I told you to slow down. Let's see how based I am then, considering I can tear your head off. And I've been in situations where I'm supposed to tear someone's head off, just so you know, and I don't. I've been in situations...
In a quarter mile, turn left onto California 152 East.
I've been in situations where someone popped me in the face, and you figure that I'd beat the shit out of that person, and I don't. Okay, dude, I can see that you can't handle yourself, and so I leave. But let my daughter be ran over in front of me and have there be no rule of law. I just don't know if it would go that well. I just don't know if that would work. It wouldn't work. I know it wouldn't work. That's why I'm such a proponent of the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, the social contract, and the rule of law. That's why I'm such a big proponent of it. Like, yes, rule of law. I'm all for it.
Turn left onto California 152 East.
I'm all for it because now when we go to play that situation out where my kid has been hit by the car and I already told that son of a gun...
Continue on California 152 East for 38 miles.
So I've told that son of a gun to slow the car down and he did not! I told him to, and then he hit my kid! And there's no rule of law. What happens to him now? What happens to him now? What happens? Anybody? What happens to him? What happens to him? My OCD got in effect there, sorry. You know what? I'm going to hurt you for hurting my kid after I told you to slow down. And then there's no rule of law, so then what happens when there's no rule of law? Then gangs form. Lots of gangs. Lots of gangs. Because I already got my kid ran over last time. I beat the guy up, and then him and his gang came and beat me up. I beat up the guy for hitting my kid, and then his gang came over and took out my legs, and now I only have one leg. So, do you understand? So, now play it out. Now make it even worse. Someone dies. Guy goes speeding through your neighborhood, and someone dies. Your neighbor beats up his wife. She's black and blue. You can see it. She tells you, he beat me up. She's bleeding. Give me another system that works that doesn't have rule of law attached to it. You're too busy to take the body away. You're not going to take the body away. Where are you going to put the body? Where are you going to put that body? There's nobody in authority who has the authority to take the body because we live in an anarchy or a volunteerist society. Well, no one's volunteered in your hood to take the body away. So who takes the body away? In a hierarchy that has law and order, there's a system set up of governance that's someone's job to take the body away. They have the authority to take the body away. So for anybody who left me a funny comment saying I didn't sign up for a social contract at birth, okay, then give me another system that works. Because in a society as large as ours, there's nothing that works like rule of law. And it's not a debate. I'm not debating anybody here. All these auditors who have these ideas about volunteerism and all the different things that people say, it's not a debate. I'm not trying to win. We don't got to win here. Tell me one that works. Tell me one that works. Give me another one that works. Show me another system of order, because there it is right there. Every time you say order, that's law and order. So for there to be order, there has to be law in a society. Actually, just so you know, especially in a society that has the Second Amendment. If there's not rule of law and we all have the right to bear arms, well then, I'll just handle this myself. And so then what happens when there's no rule of law? Gangs form, factions form, and people start to kill each other in the street. And so now what are we getting to? We're getting to Hobbes' theory of the social contract. I say it all the time. I'll say it again. Bellium omnium contra omnes. bellium omnium contra omnis. What that means is a war of all against all. And the breakdown that someone did last week about the social contract, Brian from High Impact Flicks, he was talking about Hobbian theory. He was much respect to Brian for breaking into a social contract. I've been watching Brian for the last couple of years myself, so it's nice to see someone who's a thinker like that. So however, Hobbian theory is based on that Hobbes believed without rule of law under a monarchy that we would be in a war of all against all, unless we gave the sovereign absolute power, and the sovereign is the government, that we would have a war of all against all. If there wasn't an absolute monarch who could come in and say, nah, I don't like how this is going, then we would be in trouble, because Hobbes' theory that man was the most selfish person ever. Whereas Jean-Jacques Rousseau's social contract is the opposite. He said that the government is not the sovereign, the people are, and that the power of the government relies in the sovereign, which is the people. See, I just have to turn this thing on and start talking, and the stuff will come out of my mouth. But so if you can replace the people are the sovereign with a better system, then tell me what that system is so we can move towards your system, and I can preach your system, because I'll preach your system if you tell me that there's a system that will still uphold the rule of law without having anybody in authority, without having anybody under who is an authority figure over another. I don't think anybody's going to be able to do it, to be honest. And again, it's not a debate. There's no, remember, did you come up with social contract? Did you come up with checks and balances? Did you come up with the theory of natural law, the state of nature, the state of nature of man? Did you come up with that? Oh, we got a little cop action going on up here. Oh, I don't know what's going on here. Looks like we got a little cop action right here, though. I'm going to pull over right here. And now remember, I have a little, we're going to do a little audit right here, I guess, folks. Just going to do a little bit of an audit here. There's a cop here. He stopped a panhandler. Just want to get a film here of this gentleman, see what's going on over here. Make sure we got everything under control. How you doing, officer? No, I don't think you can, but I appreciate your time.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. So let's have your
That's a good man, officer. Thank you so much.
What's that?
Thank you so much. Giving him a lift. God bless you. God bless you, man. God bless you, dude. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Wow, he's giving the person a ride. Wow. Wow. Let's just make sure. So just so you guys know, you want to make sure here, and just so you guys know, just so that I didn't, so that I couldn't mess it up, on your, on the trifold. Remember, on the trifold right here, I have a right, no highway parking. I can highway park all I want because of Tech Lines versus Danforth. This is on the trifold, and that lets you. I wouldn't have spoken to the cop. I would have given him this piece of paper that showed exactly why I had the right to pull over on the freeway. You see that? That's Tech Lines versus Danforth. You guys, I'll put this up on community a piece at a time for you guys so that you guys can see it. You have the right to stop anywhere you want. You can take a screenshot if you guys wanted to get a screenshot of that real quick. But that's what that does. It makes it Tech Lines versus Danforth, 1943. That makes it so that you have the right to pull over on absolutely any highway in America. You can pull over anywhere you want. But see, a lot of people don't know that. You don't know that. It's not that you, and remember, you guys, remember, I am a regular meathead. I like to fight in a cage. My thumb doesn't work because I've been in so many, you have no idea. I mean, I'm from a place where we are fighting fools. And so I'm just making sure this cop is going to follow through on his word here. I don't know if that's true at all, but we'll see. We shall see. Is he going to put the person in the back seat? Why not put him in the front seat? That's pretty sad. That's pretty sad. I'm just gonna follow him anyway. I'm just gonna let the cop know too. Hey, I'm gonna follow you. Is that all right?
We're going to Maze.
You taking him somewhere nice?
So I'm gonna get her in the Hollister. She's trying to get to Salinas.
Dude, let me give you a compliment. You got a business card? Thank you.
Oh, yeah, no
Thank you.
problem.
Give me your business card. I got a lot of people that follow my channel. I want to make sure we give an accommodation to you for pulling over.
What's your channel?
Delete laws. I'm not really nice to cops very often, so.
Okay, that's all right.
But
No,
just because the system has been so crappy.
Sure, I was just
most
trying
people.
to help her out, so
But yeah, I also recognize people who do good stuff.
that's what I'm out here trying to do.
I don't just hate
That's
you
the
guys.
goal.
That's the goal, to uphold the social contract. But I want to make sure that people here get a chance to accommodate you for pulling over to help someone that really you didn't have to do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You guys have changed your moniker to law enforcement instead of to protect and serve. What's your name and badge number? Is P. Shaw,
Yeah, I'm Officer Shaw, ID 20742.
and you're with the California Highway Patrol.
California Highway Patrol, go right.
Another fist for you, brother.
Yeah,
Thank you,
appreciate
dude.
that. I can get you a card. You want me to go grab
If
one?
you want, I'll wait for
Let me
it.
go get it. I got one in my bag.
I'll take it and I'll put it up for public. Yeah, I like to just make sure that we do reward the. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Phone number for office on there if you have anything. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Shaw.
Yeah, no problem.
You take care, brother. Take care. So here's Officer Shaw's information. If you guys care so much to drop him a compliment for picking up a homeless person and giving that homeless person a ride. Hopefully he's not doing anything untold to the guy. But so you know, as you guys know, anytime I see a police interaction, unless I'm completely stuck behind somewhere where I have to get somewhere at a certain time, I will pull over and I will film that interaction. So, you know, we're stuck in the place with you guys where, you know, I've gotten a lot of people who are upset with me about pushing the social contract, but truth be told, what I'm talking about here is I'm talking about law and order. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a law and order society. That's what I'm talking about. So I just wanted to pulling out in front of a semi here. I punched it. Okay, so now what I was saying was that Jean-Jacques Rousseau's social contract is based on the philosophy that we all together united live under a democratic understanding of rule of law, and furthermore, our country is based on checks and balances. You have Montesquieu's checks and balances. I may not have any service. I may not have any service coming in and out right here because I'm going to be hugging the shore right here for a quick minute. But there's three systems here. There's not just two. The United States of America is not based solely on a social contract. That is not what we're based on completely. We have a third layer of, I call it a prophylactic because it's protection. A prophylactic is supposed to be protection for you and I. And what the social contract is, the prophylactic over natural law. The tap of natural law is going to be Montesquieu's checks and balances. Our way of being in America is based upon Montesquieu's checks and balances. We live under natural law. We use the social contract of Jean-Jacques Rousseau. And then our governance system is based on Montesquieu's checks and balances. Montesquieu's book, Spirit of Laws, is going to come out 1750, and Madison are going to plagiarize the Spirit of Laws. That's how it's going to go. Our way of life is based on Montesquieu's Spirit of Laws. It has the social contract in it, rule of law. It has natural law as the basis of rule of law. However, we live under checks and balances. The problem with our culture is that checks and balances did not get put down through all three branches of government. The three branches of government are supposed to be checks and balances on the three branches of government, and it's not working. That's not working. Not working. It's not working. The fact that this doesn't have checks and balances using Montesquieu's basic philosophy of checks and balances on power, a judicial, an executive, a legislative branch of governance, we need checks and balances on these cops so that I don't have to pull over on my trip to film a cop to make sure he's not hurting a homeless person. I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere. This is all super hilly, long. This is really, I mean, it's beautiful where I'm at right now, but you can clearly see that this is a robust area. You wouldn't, this is a rural area. You wouldn't want to be stuck out here walking like that homeless person was, and it's 46 degrees outside up here. It's 46 degrees outside. That is entirely too cold. Entirely too cold. 46 to be walking through a very hilly area, and this cop pulled over, hopefully to give the guy a ride and nothing more. He didn't search his bags though. We filmed him the whole way. He did not search the man's bags. So that's not what he was doing. But you know, I always go back to the root of the conversation because I check the watch time. People watch an average of 12 minutes or 14 minutes, or depends on how many minutes for each video. So I always go back to the root of the reason why I came on here. If anybody can replace the social contract or replace rule of law, please do so for me. Replace rule of law, replace the social contract, and then when you send me a snide comment, make sure you say, well, Chille, if we use a communitarianism system, and here's the reason why communitarianism would work. Communitarianism is a way of life. It's a way of social order. You may have never heard of it, but it's a way of social order. So without having like my internet might not work here pretty quick. I don't want to kill you guys coming in.